Every small town in this country really has the capacity to support a very small community-based brewery that would service the local population. We don't need to bring our beer in from all over the world if we can get good quality beer made locally.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we are at a beer school, but it's not just a beer school. It's also a school that helps us build communities right here in Alberta. Let's go and have a look. People that's now associated with the brewing industry is growing, typically because of the craft brewers. Why do you think there's so many craft breweries suddenly exploding?
Well, I think it's kind of undiscovered country. It's just people are now getting into a trade that just really hasn't been appreciated. Beer, to me, ties me to the land. When we first came to Alberta from the province of Quebec, we expected to farm here. This still gives me some reason to stay involved. Taking product from the land and sort of putting that into a bunch of diverse products that bring it all together. What we've done is exploited a niche that didn't exist by creating value from products that are produced on a farm and then ultimately end up in virtually every household in this country. We're sort of bridging that gap between, if you want to call them urban dwellers or city dwellers, and rural dwellers. We're finding another reason, another conduit for those two to meet.
I heard about the program through Alberta Beer Fest event. Peter, our program coordinator, had been talking about the program when it first launched. So when I decided I was ready for a change, I'd been homebrewing for a long period of time and decided that it was something I thought I might want to do. Once I realized that beer school was actually a real thing, I had to look into it and applied, and I got accepted, and here I am. It's been an amazing year. The list of awesome things that has happened to me this year, we'd be here forever.
Do you think that you are going to play a role in the future of bringing Canadians more towards their own beer?
I really hope so. And as you say, beer is about community and always has been. If you look at, in Calgary, there's a brewery called Village Brewery, and right from their name, it's all about community involvement. One of my classmates is opening a brewery down in Medicine Hat called Hell's Basement Brewery, and watching him go through that startup process is it's pretty inspiring, seeing somebody have a dream and make it a reality.
I have to ask, have you made any of these beers?
I've made a batch of Hay City, and I did make one of our seasonals called our Sasquatch Pilsner, which unfortunately is not on sale right now. We made that just before Christmas, and it was for sale end of January.
So it's all gone?
It was all gone, yeah, it went quick.
Pour us one of your brews, I'd love to taste that.
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna start off with our Hay City Wheat Ale. It's a nice light flavored, light bodied wheat ale. It's more of an entry level craft beer. Nice light taste, very smooth drinking. It's by far our most popular beer. We sell, I think, more Hay City than just about all of our other beers combined.
I like it.
Thank you.
This definitely will go down well after a hockey game.
Absolutely.
Tell me one important question is, what makes you the happiest about being around beer?
It's the creation. I've always liked drinking beers and drinking different beers. It's amazing the variety that you can get with beer. I know that historically people think that wine has such a huge variety, but the variety that you can get with beer is exponentially bigger than with wine. Being able to go into the warehouse and grab a couple sacks of grain and a couple things of hops and to be able to create something that people love and enjoy is priceless. So, I'll start us off on where the students hang out.
Okay, that's the patio in the sun? No?
Absolutely.
No?
So these guys, we have two little pilot brew systems. So basically they're about twice the size of what a normal home brewer would use.
How often do you brew with these ones?
A fair bit, actually. Every 2 weeks we have an official class where our instructors come up with recipes that we brew every day. A lot of those brews then get transferred into our student fermentation vessels. These little nozzles come off these recirculating tubes. We have a hose that goes here, so when we're recirculating the mash, we have had instances where we've forgotten to put these guys back on and then turn the pump on and beer goes to the ceiling. So that's always fun. Our brewmaster Dave then laughs at us and makes us clean it. So it's pretty good times. So after it gets brewed into the kettle, we move it over into these fermenters, add yeast, and then the yeast does all of its magic and creates the actual beer. Cool.
But you're doing some big ones too.
Yeah,
so let's show me what's going on
here.
Yeah,
let's go over to the production side.
We've got a beautiful facility here. It occupies a prime site. I think another highlight for me is I just love the idea of ourselves being self-sufficient program. We do have 5 pillars in the program. We believe that these 5 pillars are sort of quintessential, essential components in the brewing program. So the first one, of course, is the brewing component. The students like the brewing. So the second pillar would be, of course, health and safety. We can't have students going out and endangering other people or endangering themselves. The third one would be analytical. So we spend a fair amount of time talking about quality assurance, quality control, and the lab techniques that we bring to bear that help us determine or help students determine whether there are issues with respect to contamination and so on and so forth. The fourth one would be sustainability, and that brings us to the 5th element, or the 5th pillar, which of course is business. So we teach them basically everything, it's the full gamut, let's say advertising, sales and marketing, all the way through to budget management and costing of items and inventory management and so on and so forth.
This is the brew house for the production side. So we learn everything over here. Everything that the brewery sells comes out of this brew house. So water comes in from the city. We do a couple little treatments, charcoal filter. So moving on, we have our mash tun again. That's where all the grain goes. You take the grain, add it with water, and let it soak for about an hour at a specific temperature. Different temperatures will do different things to the enzymes that are in the malted grain.
Where do you get your malt from?
All over the place. I believe that we get a lot of our malt from either Canada Malting or Raw Malting. There's quite a few malting companies around.
Those are grains that's actually from Alberta, isn't it?
Yes, we do use a lot of Alberta grains. So it takes 2 brews in order to fill one of these. So normally we do 1 batch per day. This is called a bright beer tank. After it's finished fermenting, it comes into here and it rests. And that's when a lot of the particulates will fall out and it becomes a clearer beer. So this is our canning machine. Basically, it fills 3 cans at a time. We slide the cans over, it fills the cans with CO2, moves it onto the filling head, fills it with beer, and then caps it. And then we label it. So we've got our labeler over here. Fairly manual process for us. Basically, you stick the cans in here and it runs a label on it.
It's a perfect location for it. We do like our beer here in Alberta. We're also one of the best barley growing regions on the planet. There's a very high demand for students in the craft brewing industry right now. We're seeing, because of changes in legislation, the opportunity to grow this industry like never before. We get younger kids for sure that want to start up a new career and they like the idea of getting involved in the brewing industry. We also get older people that are looking at setting up another business in their retirement even. Just learning something new. We get PhD students coming in here. We had one fellow go through that had a PhD in chemistry going through. So the skill level is amazing.
I am spoiled rotten at this institution. I don't mind admitting that. I've been given considerable freedom here, as I think of my colleagues. I still have 1 foot firmly planted in agriculture.
Peter, you've covered so much. I thought we're coming here to see a beer school. You're teaching people not just beer, you're teaching them about business, the art of making something. You are giving them an opportunity to be in all kinds of ways involved in the industry, but ultimately you're making them entrepreneurs and people that can be proud of their communities and can play a role in their...
Everything you said is music to my ears. That's just, if you're getting that from this short interview, that's wonderful. That's exactly what I want to hear.
Brewed and served right here. Let's go have a look. We got ourselves some Old College Brewery. They call it your beer. This is now our beer. Thanks for sharing the day with us, fellows. We're gonna have a cold one on you. Cheers. You too can become part of this journey. Come help us. Let's celebrate these businesses together. Donate to our site, www.forwardthefavor.com, and we will bring you more of these exciting programs.